Okay, here we have the start of the Junkyard Hellhammer project. You can see here we have a heavy angle iron frame that was cut from an old John Deere disc, and I used the disc bearings at the back of the helve arm there as a pivot point. It's quite heavy. It's able to use the axle from the disc, which is 1 1/8 square, as in that pivot point with those disc bearings. The whole thing is sitting on a piece of 12-inch C channel, so it's heavy enough. I don't have any 1-inch plate, but this is the nature of a junkyard build. That is sitting on a cart right now, and will later be placed on railroad ties to add the heights that we need to get the dies up nice and high and the stability and keep from breaking the concrete floor. At the front of the frame here, you can see I had a piece of, I think it's 8.5-inch steel pipe. It's a heavy, at least half-inch wall, piece of half-inch plate on top of that, and this die block from a press, actually, that's about 75 pounds solid. It goes all the way across the top, and then the post will be filled with concrete and scrap iron to get us, 400 or 500 pound anvil weight. For the next step in the build, I had to fit my donut spare inside the frame using a tire hammer style drive here for the clutch and the eccentric point, and inside of the 12-inch C channel, inside of 2 layers of 2-inch angle iron, there's only 8 inches left. So we cut out a section. I added a piece of C channel on the outside of the frame to get more width on the inside. And there you can see I added another bracket in order to mount the wheel bearing. This is off the rear corner of a front wheel drive car, some Toyota or something. But that's fabricated up to bolt in, and there's a grease cap to allow for the axle bolt protruding through the plate, and greaser put in place. So it's quite solid. Looks like it'll work. Okay, here for the next step on the opposite side of that wheel bearing is you can see the rim is bolted in, and what I did was bore through the rim at 1-inch diameter, which is the diameter of our pillow block bearing, and of course the axle shaft for the eccentric point. It has a shoulder. It's turned down to 5/8, so I knocked out one of the studs on the wheel hub and drilled through at 5/8, so that 1-inch axle was bolted through at 5/8 on the hub itself. And then where it comes through the steel rim, it will be welded to the steel rim and reinforced. So if you do need to remove that, you can take all the nuts off this side and one off the other side, and it can be removed. Alright, the other thing we have going on here is, of course, the mount for the connecting rod. And as you can see, I'm using the 1-inch pillow block bearing, and I wanted to make the connecting rod itself adjustable right at this point to allow to change the clearance at the dies. And this is a piece of 1-inch threaded rod inside of a piece of black pipe, and in order to preserve the threads inside there, the inside ends of those 1-inch nuts are ground to a taper, and then the pipe is ground to a flare. Keep it centered, and it fits pretty well, but that should keep it centered enough that it doesn't wreck those threads, and you'll actually be able to adjust it if you wanted to. Now, the pillow block is not welded to the pipe. There's actually 2 pieces of rectangular bar welded in there with a raised piece on the end that's welded up and then filed square, so the bearing rests on that extra bit of steel added on. It's not just pulling sideways on those 3/8 bolts that are welded into place and then used to mount the pillow block bearing. Alright, if you're still here, thanks for watching. I know this is pretty much raw data. I hope I didn't make it too dang boring, but this is as far as I've gotten on this build, and once we get the hammer together and it's doing some damage, we can put together a moving video and be able to see how it